Hello and welcome to Jamie TV. Where's the right button? There it is. It's me. Hello and welcome and thank you for being here, whether you're here live right now and in the chat, or whether you are watching from the future. Thank you very much for joining me. Could somebody just confirm in the chat that everything sounds okay? Pete Johns says I shouldn't say that, but I've not done this for a few weeks, so it would be nice if somebody could just say that they could hear that music and that they can hear me speaking. Just going to press a button on my old iPad so I can monitor what's going on in the chat. Okay, there you all are. Wow, thanks for being here. Hello, Vortex. Hello, Sam. Hi, David. Who else is here? Hello, Joe. And Josh. Sounds great. Okay, well, thank you very much for that. That's very reassuring. Very quickly, I had to take a few weeks off of streaming. Sorry I've been away. I just had an awful lot of work on, and I just had to get realistic. It was starting to get to me a little bit. And the truth is, because as a musician, to earn enough money to look after a family, I have to wear quite a few different hats. There's a lot of different streams of income that go to make up the whole. And one of the things that I do that I am most passionate about is what I do here on YouTube and speaking to you lot. But unfortunately, it is the least well paid. And so unfortunately, that was the thing that I sort of had to suffer for a little while. But I'm getting back to it now. I released a couple of videos. I released one last night, which I'm quite proud of. I think it's my best video for quite some time. But nobody's watching it. It's doing really badly because I've been away and YouTube doesn't like that. So I've not been uploading, I've not been streaming, and so the algorithm has kicked me in the family jewels. So I guess I'm just going to have to just kind of take that on the chin and just keep making videos, I suppose. So anyway, right. So we are gathered here today to have a look at a few apps, right? Well, thank you, Vortex. That's really nice thing to say, and I very much appreciate that coming from you. Thank you. I did put a lot of work into that video. I thought, I've got to make a comeback. I'm going to come back with a really good video. Put an awful lot into it. And but I mean, what are you going to do? I'm not going to make a pants video to kind of come back. So that's just how it is. I won't cry about it. Try not to lose any sleep. So anyway, so here's the overview of what's going on at the moment. I have a Patreon account, and for my patrons at the moment, I am making a sample pack. It's called Cool Grooves, and it's kind of made up of like it kind of tends to be slower grooves. There's nothing very frantic in there. It's not a specific genre, but there's kind of quite a lot of lo-fi and downbeat. There's some cheerful grooves, but they're not fast manic grooves. There's a lot of major 7 chords. There's various instrumentation. There's a lot of electric pianos and organs. There's quite a bit of synthy stuff. There's quite a lot of a sampletron, actually. A main focus of it is kind of electronic-y drums. Electronic-y. I just invented a new word. Electronic drums, and there's a lot of real bass guitar and real guitar. And I'm kind of making these sort of, they're like little construction kits, and there'll be one-shots, there'll be MIDI, and I'm going to town on it. And actually, quite a lot of it's finished, a good portion of it's finished. So I'm going to start uploading what I have for the patrons. Now it's going to work like this. If you are a patron, you can download every single thing absolutely free. And being a patron only has to cost you as little as like $1 a month. I may at some point make it commercially available if I think it's good enough, if I think it's worthwhile. Not decided on that yet, but if I do, it will always be free to anyone signed up for my Patreon account. So, with that in mind, what I'm working on today is I'm working on some synthetic drum sounds. I wanted something kind of, some sort of slightly off the wall drum sounds to make another part of the pack with. And so I thought what I'd do, I said I would do a video for Polybeat. So let's just go to this view here. So I thought what I'll do, I'll use Polybeat as a drum sequencer, and I will also feature some other apps that I'd like to feature. Fac Drum Kit, for a very good reason I'll come to in a moment, is going to be the drum app, right? I don't know why that was so difficult to say. And I'm also using BLEASS's Phase Mutant, and I'm using Flux Pro, which is a beta. I've asked permission to use it, and he said, yeah, use it. I hope it doesn't crash because it's just a beta, but actually so far it hasn't crashed. Now, as you'll see as I scroll along here, I am using rather a lot of apps. But the ones that I particularly want to point out to you are the ones that I've just mentioned. Now, as I scroll along here, in fact, let's go back to the start and I'll just tell you this properly. So, ignore, where's that mouse? You go over there, right? And mouse, there we go. Right. So I can point to things on the iPad. Here we go. So this is Polybeat, which I'm using as a drum sequencer. This is Helium. Ignore that for now. Pretend you can't see that. And you can't see this instance of Polybeat either. Right? Now, Sam's wanting everyone to tell April Fool's jokes in the chat, by the way. So here is Fac Drum Kit, which I'm sending Polybeat to. And then all these other instances of it here, these are all just the multibus out. So Fac Drum Kit, if you don't have it, is capable of 16 multi-buses, because when you look at Fac Drum Kit, right, it's got 16 sounds. In fact, if I press here, you'll see it better. Here are the 16 paths, right, for the 16 sounds. So all of this here is just the 16 outs from Fac Drum Kit, and here is the free version of Pure Synth, because I got it today, so I thought I'd use it, and I'm quite liking it. And that was for that sort of synthy sound that I was popping in and out whilst the intro was playing. Right, so what am I on about? Right, so you will see that the volume for this fader is all the way down. That's because multibus out on Fac Drum Kit, the way it works is the first instance, the original instance, is a stereo out. Right, so once you start adding multibuses, you need to pull the volume on that fader down, because when you add your first multibus out, it puts the first instrument, being the kick, on the second channel. You will see as I press the kick, which sounds kind of weird because it's got Phase Mutant on it, right, you'll see both of these channels are lighting up at the top. So that's the stereo out, and that's the actual kick. And then if I press the second drum, it's coming up over here. Now on some multi-bus instruments, what it does is it puts the kick on this channel here, and then etc, etc. So just wanted to explain why that is like that. Okay, so I've got this Polybeat sequence here. Let's go into Polybeat and we'll have a look what's going on. I'm going to just close these two off here because you can't see them. Right, now Polybeat. Here in Polybeat, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sequences. And I was using... No, I'll tell you now because it's on my mind, right? So what I was doing in that piece you heard in the introduction there was these 5 sequences, right? You can add a whole bunch of, I don't know if there's a limit how many, but you can add a whole bunch of different sequences. And if I want to make a new one here, I would just press plus, right? And now you'll see I've got F. Why aren't I using my mouse? Now I've got F, which is a blank sequence for me to put some notes in, right? And if I press on that, I can delete it or I can duplicate it. Right, so I have a number of sequences here, and what I did was there's no like song arranger in Polybeat. So what you have to do is you have to have, as far as I can tell anyway, you have to have another app. I think you could use another instance of Polybeat actually. I only just thought of that. But you use another app to trigger these different sequences when you want them to trigger. So here's what I've done. I'll tell you now because, you know. All right, I'll allow you to see Helium now, right? So in Helium, what I have is, I'll have to use my finger, I think. From C-1 on the keyboard here to the left, you'll see I have some notage. And I'm sending that notage to Polybeat. So I've got Polybeat here listening to Helium port 1. And on MIDI channel 1, Helium is sending these notes. And so C-1 is pattern 1. And then C#-1 is pattern 2, etc. So you just make yourself a loop in Helium or whatever sequence you want to use, right? You'll see I've at the moment got 16 bars worth of loop. I've got loop activated here. I've got sync activated, and it just runs through that sequence. So if I add another pattern and I want to add it into the sequence, I just lengthen the sequence in here. I find the note for that particular pattern and I add it into the sequence. And I found the way that this works best is if I zoom in, right, so at the end of bar 2, I want, so well, at the beginning of bar 3, I want the sequence that is on C-1 to be activated. So at the end of the bar before, I put that note in, and then as the bar starts, it will begin that particular sequence. I'm coming out of there. I want to show you something here in the menu. This button here, Instant I can't say it. Instant Snapshot Switch. If I activate that, as soon as Polybeat sees that note, it will change the pattern. I don't want it to do that. I want it to do it at the beginning of the bar. So I don't have that activated. Right, so let's have, I'll take Helium out because for now I don't want a sequence. I want to show you how this all works in Polybeat. So I'm going to press plus, and now I have a blank sequence. And because I have because I've taken the helium out of the picture, now when I press play, then it will just go round and round this sequence. Vortex says he loves country music. April Fools. Huh? Well, yeah. Okay. I'm glad that was a joke. Okay, get back to work, Vortex, and you have a great day too. Right, okay. What's for lunch, by the way, if you're still here? As soon as somebody mentions food, I lose all focus. Right, so I've got this sequence going around. Now, this works like a lot of drum sequences, but it has some very special features. I'm not going to start getting involved in sequencing some complex drum patterns, but this sequencer is capable of that. I'm going to show you how to get to that, how to do that, but I figure that most people from a drum sequencer will want more fundamental usage. So I'm going to focus on that, but I will show you how to get to the more difficult stuff. So as you can see, we have a bar going across the page. We've got a 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I just stick a note in there, it's going to play me a kick. Right, so we'll just put in a 4 on the floor for now. Right, now, I have the bass drum highlighted. And it's red, right? So you see these lines down at the bottom are red, right? If I move on to the next instrument, it's orange. So if I was to put in a note here, right, it comes up orange. And then let's do a more drastically different color, right? So everything's colored to the, and you'll see across the top here, they change color to suit whichever instrument I have highlighted, right? And then down here, all the things that you can do to the notes are color coded as well. We'll come to those in a moment. Right, so I've got 4 kick drums, and if I press accent, I can actually, we'll accent the 1 and make all the others more subtle, right? And I can alter velocity, I can make them ratchet, I can skip, I can make a percentage of chance that that note will not sound, and I can offset it. That's pretty cool. And I can send out MIDI CC messages as well. Okay, so let's just add in something else. We'll go with a there's something I really need to show you actually. I must not forget. Let's just do that. Right, now you see these closed hats. That's highlighted right now, okay? So I can mute that channel with this mute button here. I can solo that so the kick will disappear. And I can change the length of the notes. Now you'll see as I do that, it makes that instrument run quicker. So this, you see how the block, as it's moving across this grey line that shows you where we are in the sequence, this one is way behind because I've made that a super long note now. Right, let's just change the speed of that note. Right, and that's running quicker than everything else. Okay, we'll put it back to normal. We could have dotted notes and double dotted notes. You see the same effect. And tuplet notes, look. Right, so you can see how you could use that to get some polyrhythm. The polyrhythm, right? Polyrhythm, polymeter. They mean different things, are often confused and used incorrectly. Let me just stop this. There we go. Right, so ever so quickly, a polymeter is where you use two different time signatures that have the same pulse. So you could have like, a 5/4 groove, right? And it would be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. If you've got a 4/4 groove going at the same time, 1, 2, 3, 4, the pulses are happening at the same time. But the 1 doesn't line up for so many bars. Where you've got a polyrhythm, you've got two different time signatures, two different rhythms that share the same 1. So they work together and kind of rotate on the 1. We can do a bit of both with this. I'm not going to get heavy into sequencing stuff like that. I'm just going to show you how you would get to do it. All right. So using this, changing the length of notes is one way. Another thing we can do is we can randomize. You know, if you just want Polybeat to kind of give you a groove and see if it's any good. Right, let's try a different one. Quite like that one. That's actually pretty cool. Right, okay. And if I press this button over here, it clears that line out. This button will just give us one random note at a time. And then here we can shift the notes across, kind of like we would do with a Euclidean sequencer, I guess. Shifting left and right. Now here we can change the length of the bar for just this one instrument. Okay, so you see how, and there's how we would reduce it back again. And of course we can just... Right, so if we make that one half the length, and you see that one starts again, joins in, starts again, joins in, right? So you can see how you could create these different rhythms that work as one. And then you can also just drag that. Now here we can... I think that mirror images whatever you put in. In fact, let's put a random amount in, and then that mirror images the beats. And that one, is that just mutating what's there, I think? This one will double the length. Let's move this screen a bit so we can see that. Right, so that's doubled the length for just that one instrument, and then this will take it back. Right, now down here I can change the velocities for each of these hits. Let's make it a bit more. Go. Right, so we can change all the individual velocities, we can add accents, and then a really exciting one for a lot of people, we can ratchet notes. So what do? I've got this, I've got the hi-hat selected, and I select ratchet, and then for the note I'm in line with, I just say how many times I want it to ratchet. Let's just make this one a double. Right, that's really pretty cool. I like that. Right, now, chance. We've got a lot of hi-hats in this sequence. So let's give it some chance that sometimes they might not happen. And then it will vary up the groove randomly as each bar passes. So chance, we're going to go like this. Just do it very randomly. Hey Alan, thanks for being here. Thank you for joining us. I hope I've not missed anyone in the chat. If I have, then I am terribly sorry. I am a stupid hippie. Hi Grant. Yeah, I did miss someone. Hi Grant. Okay, now let me just put this on screen for you. Make it a bit bigger while I'm talking about these little buttons down here. Right, now offset. I really like this. This is really, really cool. So I'm going to offset this note and you'll see what happens. Actually, I'm going to go back to chance and make that 100%. It's definitely going to happen so that I can demonstrate it. Right. So now it's playing on time, right, and now it plays late. And I can alter the degree by how late it is. By moving this slider up and down, which is really, really useful for creating grooves with maybe a bit more feel, you know. Right, okay, let me just come out of here. Okay, we'll go back to this view. It's only about 3 weeks since I did a stream and I've forgotten how all my buttons work. Yeah, great to see you too, Alan. Okay, right, we have £5. We've got, am I going to keep that pattern? I might keep that pattern. Okay, so as I was saying earlier, what I've been doing is I've been gradually working through this kit in Fac Drum Kit. I've been going to each sound in the kit, selecting it sort of as I've come to use it within the groove, and then I'm pissy-panting around with all the controls inside of Fac Drum Kit to get a drum sound close to what I want. And then I'm using effects to change it up some more. I'm looking for kind of slightly bizarre drum sounds. I'm looking for more kind of odd electronic percussion more than a kit specifically. Some of the sounds I've got I'm very happy with. Some of them need more work before I'll use them for the Patreon pack, but we're getting there. Now there are some sounds that I haven't used yet. I'm just thinking, I want to show you, I want to get on with showing you BLEASS Phase Mutant. So here's what I'll do. I've got, you'll see the ones here, the multibus out instances that I have no effects on and I haven't relabeled at the bottom. I haven't used in the groove yet. So I'll tell you what we'll do. Right, we will go. So that would be, hang on, 4, 5, 6. So that's going to be this snare, this clap, and this snare. All right. So let's use this clap. Go here, and then. Oh, you know what? There's something in Polybeat really, really important I've got to show you. But this is set up for what I need. So I'm going to open another instance to show you this. Right. So I'll double tap down here and we'll get from audio unit processors, MIDI processors, we'll get Polybeat, right? Now, when I open up Polybeat, you'll see that it's just got eight lanes, 8 instruments. I go to my little burger menu here, and we've got a swing function as well, and here we've got MIDI mapping. Now in here we've got quite a lot of things already set up. If I go to apps, you'll see, use the mouse you stupid hippie, you'll see that the developer has already put mappings in for quite a lot of popular iOS drum machines. So if I just select from here Clef Grand Ting, right, and come here, you'll see that this is all set up for Ting, because Ting uses an octave. There's 12 instruments, so it's set up like a scale, right, a chromatic scale. If we select Roosemaker FM, Roosemaker FM only has 6 instruments. So you'll see we've got 6 lanes, and it tells you what they are, right? Okay, now, because I'm using FAC Drum Kit, that's got 16 instruments. So I click on that. Hey Colin, thanks for joining us, man. Very nice to see you. Hope you're well, dude. And Daniel, hi man. Thanks for being here. Makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside to see my friends joining the chat. That's awesome. Thanks for being here. Right, so I select FAC Drum Kit, and now it's nice that the mouse wheel works in this. Wish it worked in Cubasis. So there you see we've got 16 instruments because it's mapped for FAC. Okay, and we have also got mappings for hardware, right? You'll see we've got Electron stuff, Roland stuff, etc. We've got scales, right? And that's what, and there's an awful lot of scales to pick from. So there's every root note, and then every common scale, all your modes and everything. It's awesome, and that's what I needed. That's what I used for this instance that was playing that sort of bass line thing. Right, so can I shut this now? Have I shown you everything I need to show you? I think I have. I'll get rid of that one. Right, so what was I going to do before I remembered I was going to... Oh yeah, right. Okay, so we'll come back to pattern F, right? And we'll just, let's just press play on that because I can't remember what it's like. Oh right, yeah, so it's the mad hi-hat thing. Right, so let's throw in some claps. You know what? Here's a use for extending the length of the bar. If I extend this out, right, and I'm not getting into any weird and wonderful territory here, right, I'm not going to do any clever kind of polyrhythm stuff or anything, right, all I've done is I've made the clap part 2 bars long. Right, so every second bar, the clap can be different. Right, so now let's find the clap, solo that track, we'll throw on Bliss Phase Mutant. Right, now I have a plan for this. I'll just stop that a moment. I'm going to read, right? You know I have a lot of difficulty with reading. If you've seen any of my streams, I've talked about it before. My old iPad, my 6th gen, the memory's full. I've got to sort it out, so it tends to refresh. I did have it up on screen. Right, BLEASS Phase Mutant. Okay, so here's the bit I want to read. Right, so I'm going to be totally open and honest. FM synthesis. I don't understand that. I'm not going to pretend that I do, right? So I'm just going to read you this. BLEASS Phase Mutant is an effect plugin that applies the principles of FM to bring a whole new universe of unique, modern sounding effects, right? So, and they go on to talk about, with developing BLEASS Omega, which is awesome, gave them the perfect opportunity to take a deep dive into the fascinating sonic capabilities of FM synthesis. And what it basically goes on to say is that Phase Mutant allows you to apply that kind of synthesis just as an effect to whatever sound you want to apply it to. Now, I'm not an expert on FM synthesis. I'm not going to explain that side of it to you. I'm just going to pissy pants around with the controls, give you an idea what you can do with it, right? Because really, you don't need to understand it. All you need to have is an ear. If you have an ear, you pissy pants around with the controls. If you like what you hear, great. You made yourself an awesome new preset. Save it. That's all you need, is just your ears. So, where's my clap on this keyboard? There. Okay, so let's just dig into Phase Mutant a little. That's kind of resized a bit weird. Let's just go back to something right. Okay. Across the top, we have tabs. We've got 3 tabs, 3 different pages to the effect, right? So this is the main one. Now here we can... Oh, that was the thing I wanted to read to you. Annoying. Very annoying. Because that was the bit that I thought, I'm never going to be able to say that, right? So I'll just read it. And then I got the thing up and I didn't read the thing. Right, so. And now I've lost it. Talk amongst yourselves. Tell some April Fool's jokes. Is Peanut here? Hey, Peanut. Dude, thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. So, where does it say it now? Right, okay. So, existing phase distortion plugins create their own effect by using an audio signal to modulate itself. Phase Mutant takes things to an entirely new level with the addition of an oscillator that can modulate the input signal or be modulated by it. This allows Phase Mutant to fully harness FM's ability to create complex and colourful harmonic distortions, etc., etc. That was the thing. Right. So, honestly. So, if I press this clap, right, and I switch this over here, right, I particularly like this algorithm. This is the one that seems to be most pleasing to me. Now, let's just have a pissy pants around with the controls. If I move the attack, you'll hear that sound. Let's just make it wetter so you can hear it more. Right? It's coming in later. And later and later. Or instantly, depending on what I do with the attack. That's nice, I like that. Ratio, if I adjust that, how cool is that? right? If you wanted some of that kind of like radio interference kind of sound, you could, if you move the ratio with an LFO. I've not tried that. We'll try that in a minute. In fact, let's try it now while it's on my mind. Let's go to an LFO and we'll target the ratio. What do I need? The right, and then set an amount. Right, there you go. Right, we can change the rate of the LFO. There we go. Right, now just try changing this. Cool. Right, we have another target for that LFO as well. And waveform. Right, now you can change the intensity. It's got kind of 3 settings. Medium makes it more extreme, but extreme makes it super extreme. Okay, we can also change the amount of the effect here. Right, now let's make the release much longer. I mean, that's cool. I like that. Get less wet again. Right, now the cutoff. Right, so what if we use the sequencer to adjust the cutoff maybe? Right, so here's the motion sequencer, which has now appeared in quite a few BLEASS apps. I mean, you know, because it's superbly brilliant. And let's just, is that, make it nice and slow. Over 1 bar, I think. Target, cutoff, amount. All these things can be used quite subtly to create different depths of just more and more articulations to the sound. Should we apply a bit of randomness in as well? Right, what about the envelope? Actually, I don't think I've really done much with the envelope. Envelope to waveform. Yeah, okay. Right, it's just a wonderful, wonderful thing for pissy pantsing around with and creating some slightly mad sounds. Like I say, you don't really have to understand all the ins and outs and all the depth, all the details of FM synthesis. Just arse around with it until it's pleasing to your ears. Right, so if I do this, make it completely wet, we actually have completely lost the original sound. And I kind of like that. Now you'll see, if you look nice and close, let's just go to this view here, right? And I'll use my mouse. You'll see that where we are sending the LFO envelope, the sequencer to these effects, you'll see we have this movement around the outside of the control to show you what's going on there. Look, see the cut-off moving? Okay, where's that button? There we go. Right. Okay, let's just switch the algorithm again, just see what that does. Yeah, I like this one. Okay, I like my silly sounds. Okay, so... Ed, dude, nice to see you. I'm back. I'm sorry I've been away. I'm sorry. Just had some things to take care of. You know what? I like this sound. This works for me. Right, now let's just take solo off. Does it fit? Does it fit, and do I care? It sounds that good. Yeah, you know what? It's alright. You know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw a little reverb on that. I think that will just set it off nicely. Let's just... What reverb? What reverb? Quite a lot of reverbs now, and I've got lots of really good ones. It's getting difficult to choose. You know what actually might be nice on that, additionally to that effect, might actually be a bit of a tape wobble, actually. Might be quite nice. May do that later because I want to show you stuff, right? So, you know what I want to do is I want to use this one. It's a reverb that I often overlook, and it's superb. You know what that's going to do me for now? Yes, Sam! How exciting is that, right? Numbrini. Oh yeah, rack reverb would have been a good. I've got that many reverbs, Colin. It's, you know, and it. Yeah, that would have been a good choice. I have actually used it somewhere in this project. Right, yes, Sam. So Numbrini today have dropped a standalone AUV3 tuner. Right now, ever since I got into iOS music stuff, which has been a few years now, I have been whinging. I've been crying about it like a little baby because there just wasn't one. If you go in the App Store and search guitar tuner, there's loads and loads and loads of them, but they're all the kind of tuner that just comes up on your phone screen and you just use the microphone in your phone and tune your guitar. I wanted a standalone AV3 tuner, one that just was a tuner, not part of any other app. You know, I don't want to have to open ToneStack Pro to use its tuner, you know, because that's going to use more resources than just a simple little tuner. Although I'm not struggling for resources now, I've got this new iPad, but I was struggling desperately on the old iPad. And, you know, like the digital audio workstations on iOS, none of them have a tuner built in. I just twatted that camera, apologies. Which is ridiculous because on desktop they all have a tuner built in. Now I realise that on iOS there's probably, in fact I'm sure, I'm confident that there's a much greater ratio of people interested in electronic music than you know, guitar players and bass players and stuff, but still. Anyway, the exciting news is that Numbrini have brought one out today, and it's great. It's really good. So yes, they did, Ed. It came out today. Go and get it immediately. Now watch the rest of the stream and then go and get it. Okay, right, I've not got long left. Wittering on again. Right, I wanted to show you Flux Pro, which is not released yet. It's just a beta. I'm using it on this channel here, right? So you have been hearing it in use, but in amongst everything, you'll not have heard it in detail. So what I'll do is I'll add it here. I think it will be better demonstrated on this sound. Right, and I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna activate Polybeat, which I touched on earlier, but I'll just show you very quickly. Yeah, it looks like a drum sequencer, but when you go here and you go to MIDI mapping, you can choose your musical scale, and I've chose my Aeolian, in other words minor scale, and I just put some notes in to send to the free version of Pure Synth, right, which without Flux sounds like this. Now Flux Pro is basically an all singing, all dancing Big Daddy version of Flux Mini, which you'll have because it's free, so you'll all have it. Right, now I'm not going to try and, I realise I haven't left much time for this, but I was never going to give you a deep dive into this because it's not released yet and I haven't mastered it yet. I'm going to have an arse around with it so you can hear some of the things that it does. First, I'll go through a few presets. Hey Audible. Alright, so you can see from that what it's doing is a much more sophisticated version of what Flux Mini does. I don't want to do that, I want to do this. Okay. Right, so I'm just going to arse around with some of the features. Right, and now the effects. All kinds of different filters we can use. Right, now the chorus effect. Phaser. Right, we'll switch that off. Switch off the filter. ring modulator. The ring modulator in this is ace. Right, now over here we've got an empty slot, and I can just go to this empty slot and I can choose from a list of effects, add in a whole bunch of them. That was a delay. There we are. I made an arse of that, didn't I? Oh, now I've only got a minute left. Alright, so. And it can get really, really mad, but you know what? Using it subtly as well with something like come out of effects, right? It really is absolutely awesome. Okay, so I can't wait for this one to come out and do a proper real in-depth video on this one because I really, really like it. Okay, so Doug will be on in a minute, so I just want to say thanks ever so much for joining me. It's great to be back, and it's great to come back and do a stream, and so many people, you know, be here for me and join in the chat. That's been absolutely wonderful and reassuring. If you haven't seen my new video, right, please make a little bit of time and go and watch it, because nobody's watching it. And I'm quite proud of it. Alright, so thanks very much. Take care of yourselves and be good people. Be kind, be wonderful, and make lots of music, and don't piss your pants about. I'll see you later. Bye bye.